We start tonight with rising anxiety over avian flu after a wild duck tested positive at a wildlife refuge on Oahu's North Shore.
It's the second place the virus has shown up on Oahu. Daryl Huff has more on the concerns for native birds and those at the Honolulu Zoo.
The Fish and Wildlife Service confirmed that the infected bird was found here at the James Campbell National Wildlife Preserve, which raises serious questions about the threat to local endangered species.
The refuge is home to several endangered and endemic species like the Hawaiian stilt and the koloa duck, which does mate with mallards to produce hybrids. Officials said a hybrid duck was found infected from among 10 wild bird samples collected in the area by the federal and state agencies.
The koloa duck is a hybrid of the native Hawaiian duck and a normal duck. And, of course, it's easier to test and capture those animals than endangered ones, right? So we use them a lot of times as a surrogate canary, so to speak. And there's definitely a concern that the threatened animals will be affected by this virus.
We have fears about our precious native endangered species here. Luckily, most of them are up in the mountains, not where ducks and chickens are gathering. They're less likely to be exposed.
Honolulu Zoo veterinarian Jill Yoshisato said the recent finding at the refuge makes it clear that the first infections that led to death or euthanasia for over 100 birds associated with a Wahiawa rescue sanctuary was not a fluke. The zoo has placed vulnerable birds into netted aviaries to keep other birds away and reduced visitor access to some displays. She said waterfowl and chickens are the most likely to spread the virus, but multiple birds and potentially mammals could be susceptible.
Because we don't know exactly all the species that it can affect, and because many species react to it differently, we don't know how severe the disease is. The things that make it scary is just how contagious it is.
Professor Michael Norris, a UH biologist, says the federal and state surveillance is the best way to track and potentially contain the incurable virus.
So you test more animals, you keep an eye on those wastewater indicators, and then respond.
The state DLNR is watching for the disease in its preservation areas and says so far it hasn't been found there. If it is, they say they have plans to respond.
Experts believe that the disease will or has already spread well beyond this refuge. They urge anyone who comes across a number of dead birds to call the Department of Agriculture and handle them very carefully. Reporting from the North Shore, Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.